I'm joined now by Padraic O'Kane. He's the game promoter of the College Football Classic, the Aer Lingus College Football Classic, which was due to have been played in the Aviva Stadium on August the 29th. Unfortunately, that is not now happening this year. Navy and Notre Dame are relocating back onto home turf. Hello, Padraic. It must be a great disappointment to you, and yet perhaps not the greatest surprise in the world.
Hi, Rob. No, it's not. Health and safety remained paramount to everything we did around this game, etc. And when you look at things, the amount of uncertainty that's still out. Well, we're 3 months from the game. A decision needs to be made, and we're probably lucky compared to other events. We didn't have any major infrastructure to be built, unlike if it was a golfing event or big ones that were like grandstands and so on and so forth. So we were using the Aviva Stadium, the Three Arena, the Mansion House, so on and so forth. So we said we'd make a decision on the 3 month mark, and here we are. So the uncertainties on international travel, the uncertainty if we take a step back on the roadmap here or in the America, etc. So it was just too big to take. We've delivered 40,000 people were coming, 39,566 to be precise, of people who bought tickets over 22 countries. So a vast majority of them out of the States. So it was on track to being a new world record, as it happens, for the largest number of Americans to travel outside of the United States for a sporting event, for a single sporting event. So, but not to be. We've great colleagues in Navy and Notre Dame. We actually decided that just before press conferences, our press releases today, we get the whole team together, and Jack Gladshaw, the athletic director, broke the news officially to all our stakeholders. So, as you know, we have a great steering committee of public-private representatives. So we all got around the phone at 12 o'clock to feel sorry together. And Chet was fantastic. I mean, him and Jack Warbeck from Notre Dame, both of them are committed to bringing the game back. Hopefully within this series, and there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes to do that. So people from Notre Dame and Navy want to come back to Ireland, and please God, in the coming years, we'll make that happen for them.
Okay, and theirs is an annual rivalry, 94 years, I think, at this stage and counting. It will potentially still carry on this year, but in Annapolis. So do you think, is it realistic that we could hope to get them back over the course of this 5 years? I guess it would be Navy's home game again in, year 3 or year 5, perhaps?
Year 2 or year 4. So you're dead right. It's the oldest college football game, and this will be the 94th. It's never been played in Annapolis, the Navy's home stadium, as it turns out. So they're very hopeful over the Labor Day weekend, which is a week later, that the game will be played. They have a little bit more time in the US. Athletes don't go back into training until the start of July, etc. So they're watching their whole situation of how that evolves out, etc. And we needed to give them the time to work that out as well. This is a tourism event to Ireland as opposed to a sporting event. It's not our national game. We don't play the competition here when we've a great amateur level that's growing here. It was America's decision to look at a lot of factors that go around this game. And to answer your question about a future game, it will depend how much of their season they get played. The likes of Notre Dame and Navy will have commitments made with other schools. If they don't get to play them this year, then they have to move them on to next year, and so on and so forth. So it'll be a waiting game. What we do know from both universities, they're fully committed to coming back, and they'd like it to happen in the time of the series, possibly as early as 2022, but too early to call at the moment. So we move on to the great states of Illinois and Nebraska to open up the series next year. As it happens, Nebraska, particularly part of that game, were outselling Notre Dame when we slowed down at the end of February when the wheels fell off. So while we didn't expect them to continue that strive, albeit they're very confident of it, if please God will be a 25,000 plus Americans coming in for what will be week 0 again, and the first game of the college football season on the 28th of August 2021 back in the evening.
You've mentioned there the fact that this is a big tourism event as opposed necessarily to a sporting event. Hopefully it'll be on the same weekend as an All-Ireland football final again, so it will cross over into both. But what's the value of what we've lost for this year, but what would be the expected value over the course of one of these big game weekends?
So this was the big one. This is the big one. So we've conservatively valued it with Fáilte Ireland and Grant Thornton to be worth a conservative €80 million of a loss to the Irish economy. That's directly. Indirectly, we had TV of a minimum audience of 6 million watching the actual game, coast to coast in the States, and we had a further 1.5 million that would have been watching ESPN's College Game Day show from College Green here in Dublin. It's first time to come out of the United States as well. So there's huge indirect losses. And then there's the business and the academic events. It was an amazing program as part of much more than a game put together. So them opportunities of networking and what would have came out of them will be lost for 2020, but will come back as part of 21 in a different format for next year. And whenever we get Notre Dame and Navy back. So it's a temporary measure as opposed to a permanent one.
Okay, and is it too early to start having a discussion with ESPN about bringing the game day operation back? Because that was a big plus from this year's.
Well, we know they're very keen to do it. As it happens, the Illinois-Nebraska game is a Big Ten conference, so there's a number of TV channels have the rights towards that. Fox are one of those as well. So they don't have called who has the rights to that game yet as a week zero game. It's kind of they're working out between them in relation to the channels. I know ESPN Game Day would be very keen to come back and do this, and potentially Fox's pre-game day as well. So because it's week zero, there's so much more open to us in relation to timing and so on and so forth. So we'd be hopeful not only will from the game, but we also get a pre-game show for College Green as well.
And finally, bringing it back home as well, it has been a collection of partners involved in this. I know you had Taoiseach Leo Varadkar launching it. You had him quoted in the press release today, unfortunately saying that the game was going to be off. How difficult has it been to actually make sure that all of the communication around this was going ahead, or has there been a great real level of understanding because you're one tiny little part of what's a global pandemic?
I think it's a combination of a lot of them things. We're very fortunate to have some amazing partners. Our title sponsor, Aer Lingus, Dublin City Council, Falls Ireland, Tourism Ireland, Grant Thornton and so on. They're just, they're cement. Their comments over even the last number of hours to us has just been really encouraging and really welcoming, because it's been a tough old day. We've been 2 years working on the game to bring it to where it was. So to have them behind us, it's fantastic. They bought into, excuse the pun, a 5-game series. This is about a bigger and potentially an annual series for whenever and forever if all this works out for us, etc. So we're really fortunate to have these guys behind us. We've been communicating with them for weeks. We've been keeping them updated where this is going. And also, Navy and Notre Dame as the partners in this game, and now moving on to Illinois and Nebraska, they become partners to the game too. They're fantastic. And the stadium with Martin Murphy and the team of the Aviva Stadium, it's a damn tough year for them as well in relation to what's going to happen. So this is probably the last of the big events to fold. So for Martin and his team, it was just an unbelievable partner to what we do. Another tough day at the office for them as well. So look, there's no winners here, but there's no losers. Nobody made this happen. We're in a pandemic. We all have to do the right thing. We've now done the right thing in relation to this game. But it's still the start of this new college football series, the Aer Lingus College Football Series, and it starts now in earnest in 2021.
Okay, well, Padraic, thanks very much for taking the time to have a chat with us today, and the very best of luck with that. Nebraska and Illinois, August 28th, 2021. Mark it in your diaries now.
Thanks, Rob.